पारुष्यमेव अज्ञानां चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम्. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual life, although they do not follow the principles. They are always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically according to their own desire and do not accept any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the womb of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. Srila Prabhupada explains quite interestingly that these demoniac qualities, such people carry right from their uh, right from their birth. And in due course, they manifest these qualities. So this goes to show that uh, everyone, right from their birth, they are riveted to a certain peculiar kind of nature. Here, the nature being described is a very ghastly nature, but everyone is riveted to a certain peculiar kind of nature. And if there is no if there is no effort on part of the living entity, then with time, that peculiar nature to which one is riveted to, that same peculiar nature will grow more and more and more. So we see, even as a small child, and even a small child shows various traits. Even as a small child, these qualities are manifest, good or bad, even in a small child. You'll see some children are selfless, but if you give them toffee, they'll share it with everyone. No? You can see a small child. Another fellow you'll see very stubborn. No? He will eat his quota, he'll grab other fellows also. No? So these traits are very much there in small children, is it not? We are seeing small children, is it not? Some of them are amicable, some of them are very, so even as a child, some of them are very political. How can a child be political? But yes, because this is not a child. You know? There is a big old fellow inside. The processor is very old. Is it not? It's only packaging. Yeah. So nobody should be taken on face value like that. So the point is that these lakshanas are present even as a small child. These lakshanas are present even as a small child. And now to be able to change, what is needed is to take shelter of a higher energy. So nature does change, but the changes are slow. But without Krishna consciousness, it is practically impossible for nature to change. Generally, as a thumb rule, people continue the same nature throughout their lives. Generally speaking. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining here that these qualities, these demoniac qualities which are mentioned in the verse today, they are the royal road to hell. And Srila Prabhupada is beginning. So they're the royal road to hell. pathway to hell is to act whimsically, pride, harshness, arrogance. Whether or not one has some achievements, one has done something practically, obsession about what, no, a very high estimate and obsession about that estimate is what is being highlighted as dambha, darpa, abhimana. So the living entity is a good fit to be on the receiver mode. Everything in this nature, everything in the world around us is going to, everything around us, everything in the world around is teaching us uh, is teaching us only one lesson, the lesson to surrender to Krishna, the pathway to Krishna. So as soon as one switches on the receiver mode, one can start receiving signals. Avanti Brahmana was just roaming around observing Mother Nature. And everything in nature taught him, gave him clues, gave him directions of how he can revive his relationship with Krishna, how he can revive his relationship with the Supreme Lord. So if one is on the receiver mode, then that is the best fit. The machinery of the living entity is best fit for that mode. I don't know much. My interpretations are faulty. But I cannot afford to make mistakes because this opportunity of human life is very limited. Therefore, let me accept, let me follow, let me take shelter. So that is the receiver mode. So in that mode, actually, the heart, because it gets open to learning, and one can progress in spiritual life. One can ascend in life. So pride is the opposite mode. Pride is the radiating mode. So one has switched off the receiving signals, and that switching off happens through arrogance. And then rather one is himself trying to radiate his own whimsical note. That is false pride. And the nature of false pride is that, or the nature of this mode is that, the more one remains on this mode, the more condensed this mode becomes. The penetration becomes even very difficult. Even more difficult, actually. So therefore, false pride is very dangerous. Like we have seen in the Western world, the people are lost into their own worlds, into their own, weird kinds of thought processes. They are lost into it. So to knock them out, very, very difficult. Very difficult. They are lost into their own mindset. Therefore, Western world preaching very difficult. Because why? Because their civilization is based on these principles. Arrogance, pride. They think that they are very evolved. Arrogance. They think that whatever they think has to be very strongly right. So in that sense, sometimes preaching to third world countries, gives greater results, because people inherently, they are, they get the message that you are not very, evolved. You are not very evolved kind, uh, elite species. So it becomes easier. So it becomes easier for them to take it up. Like villages, it becomes easier for villagers to take it up, because uh, yeah, because they are more tuned to, or they are more, they are more directly interfacing the miseries of the world, so it becomes easy for them to understand the message. in posh communities may become difficult again. In metro cities, to preaching to corporates will be a little more difficult, a little more difficult. So So this false pride is very dangerous. False pride is very dangerous. So because false pride, the moment false pride comes, it means that the receiver mode is off. And the receiver mode is off, then a person's advancement, spiritual advancement, goes for a standstill. So therefore, one has to be very, very watchful or on himself. That if you go on this trajectory of false pride, it's going to lead to a lot of problems. It's a demoniac pathway, the Prabhupada is telling. Now the interesting point is comes that, okay. The interesting question which comes is that, okay. So in our preaching, the interesting question which comes is that, okay, in our preaching, how to switch on the receiver mode in people, like that. So for that, devotees have to do a lot of hard work, is it not? So sometimes different things. So basically, people should come to the point of appreciating some or the other aspect of Krishna consciousness genuinely. Some of the other aspects. So therefore, it may mean, uh, because unless their receiver mode is on, it's going to be very tough. So sometimes it may mean, okay, making a very big temple. The person with his false ego is very big, but then he's seeing that the temple is bigger than him. No? So his, his receiver mode starts. Because he sees, okay, the temple is bigger than, much bigger than what his ego is, is in that. So his receiver mode starts, a bit slowly. Or for that matter, sometimes, uh, uh, yeah. So for that matter, sometimes, uh, programs, preaching program is arranged, and the preacher is a material profile much higher than the people who are sitting. So, like sometimes our devotees arrange programs, from some from pass outs, and somebody is in a very good material position, So then the the students, they get a little, toned down. The radars may get a little toned down. So this is somehow or the other, if they uh, uh, similarly, the demonstration of the richness of the culture uh, of Krishna consciousness, then people see that, then they can understand that they may be boasting and they may be very, they may be thinking they're very good, but there is an acute shortage of that richness in their lives. So then people can start appreciating Krishna consciousness. So this means that uh, uh, a diluted kind of wishy-washy display of Krishna consciousness is not going to attract people, because people are lost. They are not at all. Is it not? A diluted kind of wishy-washy Krishna consciousness will never attract. Is it not? No, it's never going to attract people, because people anyways think that they are quite spiritual. Everybody thinks like that. So they may be thinking they are quite spiritual, but when they start realizing that what they, with all their thinking, there is an acute shortage of that, intensity in their lives, and they can watch that intensity around. Then the receiver now switches on. But oh, I need to learn as well. Is it not? So it is a great duty on our part to actually follow the principles of Krishna consciousness very intensely, so that there is a display of intense and genuine Krishna consciousness, because that is what will exhibit the richness of the culture of Krishna consciousness. Like we were just wondering one time, we were just wondering one time this. So Radheshyam Prabhu had a great desire that we should preach to management colleges. Till now, we don't have a successful model of preaching. So now the point is that if we, to sometimes corporates, we can speak some, we put some uh, placard of some management principles and give them knowledge of Gita, and now we may say, okay, the the four quadrant formula, or so circle of influence, and some here and there jargons. But ultimately, we are giving them the message of the scriptures. So it works out good for them. And management colleges, this doesn't work good. It doesn't work good. Because they have enough of those jargons. Like that. Now, either you give jargons which are much more than what they have, which is going to be really tough. Because our interface with management is also some one or two here in their books, is it not? Now, how much you will, go into it. So either you give them jargons which is much more, so then they may say, oh, he is, worthy fellow. Or you give them something which they have acute shortage of, is it not? So you give them something which they have acute shortage of. And one thing is very clear: there is emptiness in the heart. Is it not? There is restlessness in the mind. So therefore, so one of the things which I realized can work very good in these management colleges is that directly you go, you sit down, you just do kirtans, intense kirtans, and you start Om Gyan Timirandasya and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and speak direct message of Krishna. Bhagavatam, like it. Taseva heto prayate tako vido, that's going to work out good, that's going to work out good, because that's going to work out good, because they can understand that yes, they that which they can find an acute shortage, then only the receiver mode will start. And unless the receiver mode starts, there is no transformation. So there needs to be, so even in our own lives and for our own practice of Krishna consciousness, there needs to be a very strong positive affinity and appreciation uh, for the spiritual culture. Then we would like to go into it. Like it is said that, okay, we should hear about the lives of acharyas. Why? Because then we can start developing affinity for the practice of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is so intense. The acharyas have sacrificed so much. So, so then there is bonding, because the receiver mode is switched on. If that one doesn't do, if that homework is not done, then a person may think, no, no, then a person is lost into the technicalities of modern day life. You know, then a person makes a very complicated module of program of Krishna consciousness, very complex program of Krishna consciousness, which is filled with their comforts, luxuries, everything. Makes a very complicated model. Similarly, uh, we should see good health means that we have a positive affinity and appreciation for the culture of the culture which is depicted in the Shastras. Because if the heart is tuned to modern day culture, no luxuries, comforts, then again the practice, the intensity of practice is never going to come about. So we need to genuinely, one needs to genuinely have this positive appreciation. So then one will understand. So, a signal for disease, maybe if we say that, okay, the Shastras are all good and all, but they're all good and, to think about, but modern day, things work a little differently. Things are, many things are not practical. So these are all, alarm signals. As if we feel that the Vedic culture is not practical, and the modern day things have to, things have to go through different trajectories. So then you see the receiver mode is switching off. You see, and one is no more looking forward to transformation, is it not? If you have appreciation, you'll work for it, and if you have appreciation, then only there is a question of transformation. If there is no appreciation, and one's heart is not longing for it, where is the question of any transformation which is going to take place? Is it not? Sometimes some devotees feel that they are already practicing so much. There is so they feel saturation. Now, actually, this saturation is not because of Krishna conscious practice. This saturation is because the heart is filled with so much other garbage. That garbage is causing the saturation. Because a devotee in good health will always feel that his spiritual activities are very much lacking. He needs to do more. If one is feeling saturated, very इतना तो भक्ति कर रहे हैं, now we have to get some. So saturation feeling is because of the garbage of this world. Spirituality will never give saturation. So, so sadhaka has to be watchful towards this end. Otherwise, sadhaka has to be very watchful towards this end. Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandha aya surimata masucha sampadam daivim abhijatosi pandava. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with divine qualities. Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna by telling him that he was not born with demoniac qualities. His involvement in the fight was not demoniac, because he was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respectable persons such as Bhishma and Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, or harshness. Therefore, he was not of the quality of demons. For a Kshatriya, military man, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such a duty is demoniac. Therefore, there was no cause for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs the regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendentally situated. So yes, fighting will be a service provided the war is a dharma yuddha. No? So provided the ground is of dharma, then fighting as no? Then fighting is a service. Similarly, we may say that say psychophysical tendencies or varna tendencies are going to be elevating, provided that all of them are used in the mission of the Lord. If all those propensities are used for sense gratification, then it is, not, there is nothing big in them. There is nothing good